Hello, this is Professor Heisterkamp. Welcome to Module 2 Research Design for COMM 400 Communication Research Methods. There are a few different chapters that we'll be covering in this module, and the first one is Chapter 2 on ethics. So we'll talk about the definition of ethics as it applies to communication research methods. We'll discuss the Institutional Review Board, or the IRB, and that's the committee on campus that would approve all research study that involve human participants. We'll talk about the treatment of human participants and the Belmont report that guides or governs how researchers treat human participants, and we'll talk about ways to protect participant privacy. Then moving on to Chapter 7 on data, we'll talk about the different sources of data. So this could be from survey research, observation, experimentation. We'll talk about sampling. So once you've defined your population, how would you sample from that population? And there are different random and non-random techniques for doing that. We'll talk about different data collection settings. So it could be online settings, face-to-face interview settings, observational settings. So we'll talk about those different techniques. Then we'll discuss the level of measurement, and this has to do with how you are operationalizing your variables. So there are 4 different levels of measurement that are discussed in the chapter and that you'll see in the online lessons. And then we'll talk about the types of variables, and in particular the independent and dependent variable. So in Chapter 8 we'll talk about evaluating research, and this has to do with the reliability and validity of a study. And then lastly, Chapter 9 in this module on hypotheses and research questions. These are basically the statements or questions that help guide or focus your study. And there's a lesson in this unit, in this module, that discusses the research hypothesis and the independent and dependent variable in those hypotheses, and then the corresponding null hypothesis. In this module also, by the end of this module, you need to complete research proposal portion A. And so if you've read through the syllabus, you know that this paper builds on itself. So it's turned in 3 different portions. So portion A is the first portion that is due at the end of this module. You'll be looking at a theory that you discussed from COMM 306. So it could be any theory, whether it's social information processing theory, standpoint theory, cultivation theory, uses and gratifications theory, anything that you discussed in COMM 306. You'll be writing one research question or hypothesis that emerges from that theory. So what you're going to be doing is making sure that you clearly identify the research question or hypothesis in this portion of the paper. You'll provide a rationale for your study, and this is where you'll want to look for research from journals or other edited scholarly books that can help support why this particular study that you're proposing is important to be conducted. And then this paper should be 3 to 4 pages in length. And I just want to emphasize that this is a proposal, so you will not actually be collecting data. You're only proposing that this study be conducted. So you won't conduct interviews or collect any survey data for this particular paper. So in this module, you should read chapters 2, 7, 8, and 9, review the lessons, and watch the related video material within the module. Post the required comments to the 2 voice threads for this module. Complete quizzes 4 to 9, and submit portion A of the research proposal paper. As always, if you have any questions, get in touch with me.